Welcome back to Wealth Mavericks, the podcast where we help doctors unlock the secrets to building generational wealth. And today, we're talking about living in alignment with your values.
Time's going to do what time has always done, and it's just going to keep marching on. But we can control, we can manage how we navigate time.
1 year from now, that goes fast. Jump ahead. 1 year from now, what will my future self thank me for doing today? Welcome back to Wealth Mavericks. As always, we're so glad you're here. I'm joined today by Joe, and we're going to have a conversation that we hope will help you pause, reflect, and reevaluate as we near the end of another year. So when a member joins us, we walk them through their Freedom Roadmap conversation. And one of the things we always say is that as your partner, it's our job to help you make good decisions in your business and in your life. And as Roy Disney, brother of Walt, once said, when your values are clear, your decisions are easy. So the question today is, what are your core values? And if you know what they are you actually living in alignment with them? So Joe, before we get into how to truly know if you're living in alignment with your values, what about the person who hears that intro and thinks, I don't even know what my values are? Where do they start?
That's a good question. I mean, my immediate response is you actually know what your values are internally. Like, we all have them. They probably just haven't taken the time to reflect on them. And that's what I'd encourage them to do. The process that we go through is called your values staircase. And we start with a question. We start with one of two questions. What's important about success to you, or what's important about money to you? Both of those questions will lead you to the same answers. Honestly, you could actually start with any of the 5 key areas of life that we talk about: spiritual, family, business, financial, fitness. They'll all lead to the same thing. So here's the formula really quickly. You can pause this video before you watch the rest of it. Ask yourself, what's important about success to me? And take a moment and think about it. Like, just actually pause and reflect. And then write down whatever comes to mind. And there's probably going to be a handful of things off the bat. And then you're going to pick the one that has the most emotion or is the last thing that you think and write down. And then ask yourself, what's important about that thing, whatever it was, to you. And you keep going through that process. When we take someone through this, as I've instructed our coaches, your job is to remove yourself from the conversation completely. Your job is just to facilitate thought for somebody, because I know very few people who have gone through this process on their own naturally without someone guiding them through it. And it's usually a it's a pivotal conversation that you can have, or you can have with your spouse or partner. Mm-hmm. So that's the process. And you keep asking that question, what's important about blank to you, or if you're asking it for yourself, to me, over and over until there are no more answers. And it usually, you go through, I'll call it 3 levels of answer. The first level, and they follow like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if you're familiar with that, kind of safety, security, shelter, that kind of thing. Then it moves to more service to others, and then usually turns back internally or reflective to what he called self-actualization. But your words are important for you. So that's where I would start if I were you. If you're listening to this and you're like, I don't know what my values are, or I haven't gone through that exercise, take some time and go through that process. I don't know, light a candle, put on some nice music, and give yourself the space to think through what's important to you. That will help you, I think, gain. I really believe that quote, Walt Disney's brother Roy's quote, when your values are clear, your decisions are easy. And so if you find yourself in a season where you're like, man, I'm just having a tough time making decisions, go back and get clarity around what's important to you, and that will help you. It's shocking how easy decisions become when those values are clear.
And even if you're not going to go through that whole process, which I recommend you do, but I mean, if you become a member, we will walk you through it. And right. So I love that. I love that meeting because we get to know someone so well. And so often the response is like, wow, I've never thought
Yeah.
of that, or no one's ever talked to me like that before. And what comes out is super powerful. But I think even more simply, it's like getting off of autopilot and becoming very aware of, your inner dialogue, how you're spending your time, how you're spending your money. That's what we're going to get to, because those things do not lie. But like, what brings you joy? What energizes you? And what depletes you? And also, I think something that I've always used, even before I learned a lot of these tools, is like jumping ahead in time and thinking like, if I were to look back on me right
Yeah.
now, what would I change? Or what would I be proud that I did? Or what would I regret? Like, I think sometimes people don't stop because they're so busy and overwhelmed by
Yes.
life. Like, stop and go a few decades ahead, because God willing, that time will come. And how will you hope to have spent your time? Like, what's important and what isn't? So just really
Yes.
taking time to identify those things.
I was having a I was had dinner with some very good, very dear friends last night. It's a group of guys that we've, I don't know, over the last 6 years gotten together on an annual basis, typically on a retreat, and we're diving into the deep nitty gritty stuff of life and all of that. And so we have dinner about twice a year, and it's just such a good time. But one of them was sharing how there's a group of guys that he gets together with, and one of the guys is in his mid 80s, and he was literally talking this week about this topic, and he said, I
Mhm.
have spent so much of my life busy, and he has deep regret around that. And I know so many people they want to live life without regret. Like, that's kind of one of the most, I mean, you've had enough of these
Mm.
conversations there, and that's one of the key things that people say. I just want to have a life of no regrets. And sadly, people are careening towards a life of regret. And most of it is due to this incessant busyness that we are addicted to, especially in America. And so I think these times of pause and reflection, and I know we're going to talk a little bit about like, well, how do I determine like what I'm doing? Take time and assess this, because you don't have to just keep doing the same thing. That's the thing. And if I can tell a quick story, I'd totally forgotten about this. So about a little over a year ago, I really had wanted to become a skydiver, and I had done it a couple of times and had just put it off, put it off, put it off. Anyway, we had a friend whose husband passed away very suddenly
Mm.
and shockingly, and it was tragic. And there were things that he wished that he had done that he didn't do. And Mandy reminded me, she was like, literally the next weekend you went and started the process, because it's like, I'm not going to let life just pass me by.
Mm.
And so I think all of us, again, from time to time, take a moment during, the end of the year, during the holidays with this season. It's a great time to reflect. It's a great time to reflect with your family and encourage, if you've got kids, like, help them understand while in their youth, like, make intentional decisions about what's important to you and pour into it.
Yeah. And a concept I'm trying to teach my kids is just, I mean, we talk about money a lot and spending money and investing money, but money comes and goes, and money is a renewable resource. Time is literally our only non-renewable resource. And when you look moment by moment, day by day, are you just spending your time, or are you investing your time? And like, being so intentional about what you're spending your time on, and thinking, what will the return be on this investment? And I think, we live in a world of distraction and numbing the stress. And so like, that's something that comes up a lot in the 510s, is just like, oh, I need to spend less time scrolling on my phone. Even like these super busy people, they get
Right.
home and, oh, I don't have time to work out, but I'm scrolling on X, or,
Right.
you know, and it's like, just, so I'm trying to teach my kids, who all have phones, and I don't like it, but it's like, okay, tell yourself, I'll give myself 15 minutes to watch these silly videos, and myself too. We all do it. But if you're just numb to it, it's like, oh, an hour has passed and you'll never get that hour back. So it's like, if I say that what's important to me is my faith and my family and my career and my fitness, but now I looked at how I spent my time this week and what have I actually done for any of those things? So something you've taught me over the years in our coaching, and it started, of course, more professionally, is like having a perfect calendar. And accounting for each day where your time went and how you spent it. Well, now that I'm, filled with so many things to do every day, and I'm so grateful, um, I not only have a perfect calendar professionally, but I've started adding in how did I spend my personal time, my fitness time, social time, family time. And here's another thing that I love that you've taught me is what gets measured gets managed. And so the past few years, I have become just a data junkie, like tracking not only workouts, but family dinners and Bible time and all. And then you can look back and be like, how many times did I do this? How much time did I spend on this? So that leads us into, what's a good tool for like, how do you actually figure out where your time is going?
Hmm. Well, I love that you've taken things that I've taught you and it's had a
Hmm.
positive impact. That always brings me joy.
Hmm.
Um, I think the two easiest tools to help decipher what someone actually values, not what they say they value, but what they actually value, is their pocketbook and their calendar.
Hmm.
If you say you love your family and you say that they're important to you, and yet your calendar is not filled with activities with them, then those are hollow words and they feel that. If um, you say it's important to help other people and your pocketbook is not filled with activities helping other people, either financially or with your time,
Hmm.
then those are hollow and empty words. They feel that, and you feel that. There's an incongruity that happens with that. And so I think that's the easiest thing is do a review. Where was my money spent and how was my time spent? And if you just do that review, it will become jarringly obvious where you or what you value. So, and I know it's a little bit, I tend to be uh, fairly stringent, especially with people that I'm coaching on calendar. We can't manage time. Time management is a misnomer. You can't manage time. Time's going to do what time has always done, and it's just going to keep marching on. But we can control, we can manage how we navigate time, and that's where the calendar becomes a real reflection of that. So I'll give the same 4 rules for time priority calendar management that I give to everyone that I train this on, but I'll do it really quickly. There are 4 rules, and if you adhere to this, it will help you tremendously. So rule number 1 is your calendar should be an accurate indication of where you intend to spend your time. Rule number 2, your calendar should be an accurate reflection of where you actually spent your time. Rule number 3, you cannot be in 2 places at the same time. And rule number 4, in any time block time, uh, annotate or note what you actually did with that time. So if you are paying attention to your calendar, and a lot of the people that we work with, very successful doctors, their calendars during work hours are dictated by patient volume or whatever it might be that's happening. So there's not a whole lot that you need to do with that. And typically when they're successful at the level that they choose to work with us, this is not an issue during working hours. But how about during off hours? I would imagine some of them have some kind of calendar, or it's like important events. We've got dinner with this family, or we've got this event that we need to go to. Those things will probably end up on the calendar. But what about all the other things? Like you said it well, what gets measured gets managed. So what about morning routines? What about evening routines? What about the habits that you're trying to develop? Like, are they showing up in your calendar? If they do, I believe you have a higher probability of actually accomplishing those things. So
Hmm.
it sounds a little bit maniacal to think like, oh, I'm just going to track every second that I'm awake and asleep. Okay, cool. Like, give it a shot. Just try it. If you've lived in the Wild West and it's like, I don't track any of that, none of it's on my calendar, no, start with tracking something and just see how it goes for you.
Even just 1 week, or like you said, one area. It doesn't necessarily have to be everything, but like, what is the area in those five, spiritual, family, business, financial, fitness that you feel is the lowest, is the most lacking for you, even
Mhm.
though it is important, and start measuring that. So, how many workouts did I do? Or, oh, I have no spiritual practice or spiritual life. Do I wake up 5 minutes earlier a day? Like, as we always say, just start somewhere, start
Yeah,
small. So if you do this audit and you find big gaps in what you say is important and how you're actually spending your time and money, um, start small, start
right.
somewhere, be more intentional.
Yeah. And same thing on the spending side. I don't think I certainly don't expect that the folks that we work with, I don't expect that they're going to do a full-blown audit and they're going to measure their last 6 months of spending and where every penny went. Would that be valuable? Yeah, I think it would.
Mm-hmm.
We have some tools that help do that kind of thing. But um, I think really looking when I have taken people through this exercise, people are typically pretty surprised at where money is going. And it's usually not intentional. It's what they call lifestyle creep. It's
Mm-hmm.
just, you would never have dreamed about spending $4,000 a month eating out. And yet here we are, and you can't find a month in the last year and a half where it's been under 4 grand. And it's not because you value eating out. It's not because that's a core value. Now, for someone, it might be. Someone's core value could be, I love spending time with family and friends eating out at nice restaurants. Fine. Invest whatever you want into that thing. But if it's happening on accident and it's happening because lifestyles creep has happened, meaning the more you make, the more you spend, if that's what's happened, take control of it. Harness those dollars and send them to where you want them to go. It is knowable. It's just, are you willing to take the time to know it? And again, great time at the end of the year, do a review of your spending as a family and just make sure, are our dollars going to the things that we value? If they're not, make intentional changes.
Mm-hmm. And a little bit of an aside, but I think one thing we see often is that people know that they're spending a lot. And we've talked about this before. It becomes like this almost entitlement. And it's like, true, you work hard for that money, spend it how you want. But part of it is like, well, I have all this excess that it doesn't matter if I spend an extra 1,000 here or 1,000 in this category. But I think that's a real powerful part of our membership too, is like when we can show you with clarity what you could be doing with those dollars instead that impacts your future so much, it helps you rein in and be more intentional with the money that you're getting each month. So I really like that. There are great tools out there. Of course, we have the great tools to be able to do that. But I would say if you want to start here and do an audit of your time and money, make some changes in your life, I would say a very simple exercise is to just ask yourself 3 questions as you're heading into a new year. What do I want more of in my life? What do I want less of? And again, jumping ahead, it's so powerful. Like 1 year from now, that goes fast. Jump ahead. If 1 year from now, what will my future self thank me for doing today?
Mm.
And those little changes over time, you grow so much. So any final thoughts, Joe, on this?
No, just that yes, I do have a final thought on this. The difference between the you of today and the you of a year from now or a decade from now or the end of your life is the decisions that you make. And so many of us are living in default mode. We are doing the same things over and over and over. And it's not the definition of insanity of doing things over and over and expecting a different result. It could be that the result is just not what you want it to be.
Yeah.
And so I think that time, like this exercise of thinking decades from now, it's a magnifying effect. So take dishealth or unhealth, for example. If I continue down this trajectory of unhealth, where will I be 10 years from now? It's probably going to be a pretty close to straight line, increase in weight, decrease in ability, whatever it might be. That magnification, do I like that or do I not like that? Conversely, if I keep working out and I keep eating properly, doing like the simple things right, where will I be? It just magnifies that. So pay attention to that. Like, don't skip this step. It's such a powerful exercise that you've encouraged them to do, Erin. So, Doc, take the time right now, pause and reflect. 10 years, 20 years, 50 years from now, I don't know what that timeline looks like for you, but pause and reflect, because that version of you is either going to be thankful for this current version or they will despise you. And they'll look back and they'll just say, why didn't you do this? What is wrong with you? And so please let this, as odd as it is, this podcast that's being recorded, in 2025, let it be a wake-up call to you if you need that, Doc.
So good. Thank you, Joe. Always wonderful thoughts. So, Doc, if you want 2026 to look different, better than 2025, your life has to be aligned with what you say is important to you. And as we've shared, your time, your calendar, your bank account, they don't lie. They're telling a story. And so if you don't like the story that they're telling, the good news is that you can always start rewriting it. So as always, thank you for being here. Feel free to reach out to us if we can help. Drop a comment if there's anything that you'd like us to cover. We appreciate you being here. And until next time, go be a Wealth Maverick.